everyone, to the Welcome to the J podcast hosted by me, Jahenns Manigat, aka Canadian Red Bull. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Field of 68 network, which presents all of these different podcasts from not only myself with all the Blue Jay content that you'd ever want to have, but also our various other hosts representing. Today, our guest on the pod is the pride of the Colony, Texas. He is MVC's most improved team in 2013. He was a Big East All Tournament team member in 2014. He scored 1,013 points in a Blue Jay uniform. His 492 assists ranks him fifth all time as a Creighton Blue Jay. Like I said, he's the pride of the Colony, Texas. Big money, large cash, grande dinero, aka Austin Chatman. Welcome to the pod, brother. Welcome to the pod.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Man, how you been, man? How you living?
Been all right, man. Been all right. Figuring out what life is, but I've been good.
Yeah, for
How you
sure.
been? How you been?
I I'm good, man. You know me, I'm overseas, grinding always, trying to stay out the way, trying to stay safe for the most part. I'm hoping all of our
Hmm.
fans who are listening today are trying to stay safe as well. So the
Absolutely.
boys played today. We definitely have to talk about that. They beat St. John's at home by 18, score of 97 to
Absolutely.
79. For the first time this year, the doors opened up a little bit, kind of a restricted crowd at the Shot Health Center, but a crowd nonetheless. For the first time, listening to the TV broadcast, I was actually able to hear some sort of cheering for the boys. You were actually one of the guys who were able to get into the game today. Am I right in saying that?
I was in attendance. I was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just popped by Omaha for a little bit, so decided to see what the boys had, and it was a thrashing. It was a good one. It was a good
Okay, perfect.
one.
Because you'll officially be the first guest to actually have attended a game and now speaking post game about what you saw live. The big news of today's game is Marcus Zagorowski not playing. In the
Absolutely.
post game, Coach Mack said that you were just a hamstring injury that he suffered during the last game. They were trying to take it easy with him. So Sharif Mitchell stepped up in the starting lineup today. What did you see from him? The kind of energy that he brought. He hit the opening three to start the game off. But aside from that, running the show, playing good defense as he always does, what did you see from Sharif that impressed you today?
Well, he always has that energy, right? Like even when he came up in high school, we were like, yeah, this dude's like he's got that energy on defensive end. He's like long, so he's always going to be in here and playing defense. And I think that's what the opposing team hates, and he brought that. But he also, which he is improving at, is his offense, hit the open shots. But he's also trying to make his teammates better, and that's where he's going to continue to thrive.
Yeah. And you played the backup spot for a year behind Antoine Young. How tough is it to not only come off the bench, but in your situation, Antoine was the main dog. He set up our whole offense. You came off the bench, and your role is basically to keep pushing the lead if we had it, or try to get us back to a lead if we were down. How difficult is it to come off the bench and try to, get the guys going, generate your own energy, and try to just be a positive asset on the floor?
It's huge, man. I think just for players everywhere, honestly, down from the diapers all the way up to professionals, is like what you have to understand is your role, and when you can, get behind that, that's when you'll start to see yourself and your team strive. Um, so yeah, I took big pride in my role there, and just providing the energy and effort, and whatever added offense was there as well.
Big time contributions from everybody, especially in the first half. I think Denzel Mahoney was the only player in double figures in the first half with 11 points. Everybody else had nine, eight, seven. I think Sharif had a big role to play in that. Just obviously physical. Everybody was getting touches. Every good. We also saw a lot of kind of de facto point guard being played by Mitch Ballack today. Uh, his floor game is something that I think is very underrated, very underappreciated because he's such a good shooter. It overshadows how good of a playmaker he
Mhm.
actually is. What did you see in him today that kept the team above water? The times when Sharif was out and they were playing kind of four guards who usually play off the ball, but he had a lot of ball. He was the main ball handler out there with those guys.
Money making Mitch. Money making Mitch, man, he makes plays, bro. He reminds me honestly of Grant a little bit, but like,
Uh,
Grant's gonna hate that, but he's like, before the knees, I guess, or after the knees, I guess. He's a little more athletic, a little quicker, I think, but he's like he holds the team together. Like so he was able to control the ball there and control the tempo, and he understands pace when you need a good shot. Um, he understands matchups. So he's that leader on the court that they were missing, without Marcus. But that's the thing about this team. They're so dangerous because they have different individuals that can be that leader any night. I think there's at least 3 4 guys that could be
right.
that guy. And that's what makes this team very dangerous.
Yeah, I said it plenty of times before. Like, this is such a deep team. Um, on any given night, someone else could be the leading scorer. I think tonight it was Denzel. We've seen Damian Jefferson really step up his play, not only as a defensive anchor, but really facilitating, making all the hustle plays, and really getting to the basket and scoring a ton. I think when I was listening to the sideline announcers, shout out Nick Baugh, they mentioned that against St. John's, Damian Jefferson is shooting a ridiculous, like, at that point in time was 21 of 25 field goals in his career against St. John's. Like, that's just incredible efficiency against a particular team. So no, you're absolutely right in saying that the depth of this team is was for sure on display today. Like I said, even with Marcus Zagorowski, their leader, Big East preseason player of the year, not being able to play, the boys really look like they didn't really miss a beat. What do you think about that part?
I mean, like I said, that's what makes them so dangerous, right? Like they got Mahoney, who's transferring in, and it was, if I'm not mistaken, player of the year, right? Um,
I believe so at his former
of his
school.
conference, correct?
Yeah,
His former school, right? So I mean, that's a leader right there. So then you got Mitch, who's a veteran, understands what Mac wants on the floor, off the floor. Um, and then you just got a lot of guys, DJ's finally coming into understanding. Like he knew what we knew what type of player he was, but now I think he's
yeah.
finally understanding him. And they're finally on the same page, and you could kind of see them clicking, and now his game is like really starting to blossom.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about you for a little bit. We got a chance to talk about the boys. Now let's talk about you. Obviously, one of the fan favorites. So far, I've brought three big time fan favorites: Ethan Rogge, obviously Doug, and yourself. You're at the Colony, Texas. You went to the Colony High School, same high school as Darren Williams. He kind of became a mentor for you. Talk about the relationship that you had with them growing up, kind of lessons that he's been trying to teach you, and uh, his his guidance, trying to guide you in the right direction as you became obviously a really good high school player, a good collegiate player, and now a professional athlete.
Well, yeah, he's instrumental, man. But yeah, I won't take away, but no, he was a really instrumental mentor for me from a lot of different aspects, just from understanding the academic part side of it, and just inside those 4 lines, um, just some of the nuances that not the everyday individual might come across. But he was an intricate part of who I am as a basketball player for sure.
He was an all-star point guard in the league. He's an Olympic gold medalist. You just mentioned some of the nuances that he tried to teach you. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more? Like, what are the things when you guys had a chance to work out together, maybe that he taught you about the game that you realized that could really help you and take your game to the next level?
There's just a lot of little things, man, that at elite level that you don't really realize, especially from an untrained eye. That is hard to see. Just little things that were anywhere from like a hand check to a hand bump, certain footwork, um, getting to your spots, um, just using the glass. There's just a lot of different things, man, and that's where for me it's almost gotten to a different place of it's almost like you're a scientist, like this is an art. This is a whole art, and I
Yeah,
understand. Like this is art.
right. And we heard Kyrie mention that this year too, talking to the media and stuff like that. He describing himself as an artist, describing other NBA players as artists, I should say, and how like sometimes people kind of take for granted the art that they're displaying. But no, once you really start understanding the game, the little things in between the lines, like you said, like basketball is really artistry. Like those guys are really out there doing things that sometimes we've never seen before. We couldn't fathom seeing ever. And then you'll see like a guy jump over another guy, dunk it on him. Or we'll see a guy like Kyrie split defenses. Kyrie being one of the best, under the rim finishers that we've ever seen in our lives. So, no, it's interesting to see like the perspective of guys, not only seeing basketball as a game, but really seeing it as art. I'm sure, had a lot of schools. You were a great high school player. I'm sure you had a lot of schools knocking at your door, getting you to commit. You ended up committing at Creighton, but talk about some of the other schools that you were looking at in the recruiting process. Maybe a school that perhaps you were leading towards going before you ultimately decide to become a Blue Jay.
Okay. Yeah. I'll just
We're gonna get into it, Austin. I know
yeah,
exactly what you're thinking too. Yep.
So first and foremost, Wichita State, they were actually like one of the first schools to start recruiting me.
Mhm.
Very young. Did a lot of unofficials, went to a lot of elite camps, did all that stuff, of course. And it just didn't really feel comfortable there when I took my official. So it came down to Wichita State, Creighton, and I didn't really have like a third was kind of a lot of different places, and I think Colorado was kind of going to be there, the third spot, and somebody might have committed right when I was probably going to Creighton or was about to commit, how the whole game is or whatever. Get to
So
Creighton.
let's
First,
talk about it. Let's
min with the
talk
guys,
about
right? Meet the guys.
it.
Meet the guys, right? Comfortable with the fellas. That's always a plus, right? Comfortable with the fellas. That's always a plus.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Right.
can't beat the academics, of course, which
Mhm.
is, that goes hands in hand. But then the fans, man, that's really, I think that's what really was the cherry on the top. You play in front of 17,000 every home game, 17,000. Um, that's a professional game, like
Right.
the elite.
Right. There's
So
really like I remember when I was on my visit and I walked into it was Quest Center Omaha at the time. When I looked up into that third row, I was like, where them papers at, man? Where they at? I
yeah,
looked at D-Rock, I was like, where the papers at? I'm signing right now. But I'm laughing a lot right now because I was your host on your visit. And what a visit it was, Austin Chatman, man.
uh,
Listen, before we go into this story, I'll tell you what. I think you had a Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning visit, right? And when we dropped you off at the airport on Sunday, Coach Mack looked at me and he goes, Jay, what are the odds that we get this guy? I was like, he's either for sure coming here or we've become the last. We've become the last school on this
hard to
list.
read, man. Poker face.
All right. No, I mean, it wasn't even that. It was just the
But
events
yeah,
of the
yeah,
night.
no.
So, all right, let's get into it also, because I'm sure there's a story that people are going to want to hear. So, I'm your host on a visit. It's a Saturday night. Nothing too crazy is going on in Omaha. I reach out to the people that I know. I ask around, hey, like, where can we bring this guy? We have a recruit in town. People are hinting that the UNO hockey team is having themselves a house party. Figured, hey, nothing wrong with that, show the incoming freshmen what life is like as a Creighton Blue Jay, how we interact with maybe the other schools in the area. Whew, Austin Chapman, I think you could take it away from there. What did you witness at that house that had me second guessing how much you wanted to come to Creighton?
So I will say I'll just say, disclaimer, I've lived a lot of life since then, right? So
Mhm.
I, what I did see though, there was a point where we might have been shoulder to shoulder, and it was a pretty thick house party, right? Like there was
Right.
shoulder to shoulder everywhere. This would not be up to CDC standards as far as
Mhm.
social distances goes. But
Oh, 100% no.
was it Colton? The
It,
cold
it
front
was.
it just came through, I think, right? Because I
Yep,
didn't have a
yep.
winter coat, I don't think yet.
No, you did not.
So cold front had just come through. Doors open. Oh, you can feel the breeze. You can feel the breeze. Lo and behold, a naked man. A whole naked man. A whole naked man in his birthday suit coming through the middle of the party. He either had a hat, he had something else on though, like a hat, cape,
He
goggles. It was
had
something. It was another accessory, but I was like, yeah,
it was the typical hockey bro. He had a trucker hat, bent rim, and that is all he had on. And my
yeah.
guy
I was like,
came
all right,
storming
yo,
down the stairs,
yeah,
butt naked, running through the party. I remember, Austin, I remember I looked at you and I said, dude, look, listen, this is not Creighton. This is not how we get down. Please don't come here, bro. Please. Oh man. Oh, what a time. That was crazy. But I mean, I'm so happy that you ended up being a Blue Jay. You and I had some incredible times, obviously. But we got off to a little bit of a rocky start, didn't we?
you did. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it was just a little blip, but
Yeah,
you know,
just a little blimp on the radar. So you come in, pretty good recruiting class. It was Coach Max, actually, his first recruiting class. It was you, it was Avery, it was Jeff Grossell, it was Devin Johnson at the time.
big
Uh,
country.
yeah, so Jeff and Nevin ended up redshirting that year, but you and Avery come in and you have an immediate impact on the team. I mentioned earlier that you were backing up Antoine. Avery was backing up the twos and the threes as well. Uh, Talk about that first year, obviously going from like being a high school superstar. You already kind of talked about, being a star in your role, but talk about having to learn that new role where you had to just be a solid, really dependable backup point guard. Every once in a while, Coach Mack would throw you out there with Antoine, but you had to be a very solid, dependable backup point guard that first year.
It was tough, man. If I'm being candid, it was really tough. And like 100% honest, I was like, there was times where I really thought about transferring because, of course, recruiting goes and you get told these things and those, but there was times where it was like, is, what it is? Because I scored close to 3,000 points in high school, so I was like,
Mhm.
is this that, but stuck with it. And that's what life is, right? Like it gives you all types of adversities and you got to find ways to battle through. So like that backup role that's kind of like Kobe started there. Just about everybody starts there. You know what I mean? You got to start there. You don't just get handed the keys and be like, oh, yep, you can go drive the Rolls Royce there. Yeah.
Uh, I'm right there with you. Yeah, for sure. Uh, but a very good year for us, a very successful year. Your freshman year, you go to the NCAA tournament. We beat Alabama and we lose to North Carolina in North Carolina. What was that experience like for you? Literally, like your first year out the gate, straight to the tournament, uh, on a really good team. We ended up, were we second that year in the Valley? Yeah, and then we ended up winning the Valley tournament. What was that experience like for you, like fresh out the gate going to the NCAA tournament?
It was big. It was big, man. I think it built a lot of maturity to help me go into my second year to take on that leading role. Um, just like that experience, like they say, you can learn all you want, but like till you get in the workforce, you don't really, understand what's going on. But
Right.
that's kind of how I felt and still how I feel.
Right. So we go into your second year, Coach Mack. Antoine graduates. Coach Mack gives you the key to the offense. You're now the lead dog. You're the guy that's responsible for setting up everybody, for setting up our offense, making sure everybody's in the right spot. I know you and I, we worked out a lot together that summer. And I remember thinking, like, I had grown really fond of Antoine. Obviously, I had played 2 years with him. So a little bit skeptical, like, hey, can Austin make that next step? But you proved to me in that summertime when we were working out that you were more than ready to step up to that role. And I think you
He
were
said he was skeptical.
really
I think I busted your ass on the recruiting visit. So I already know
don't
because I
don't
had
do
that
that.
shit
See,
on that
that's
day.
how
I was
don't
already
cap Austin
feeling it.
because
I was already feeling it.
hey,
Shit.
Oz,
Oh man.
on
Oh,
your
he made me
visit,
start
look,
early.
this is how far away it was. That's how much I know you
Okay.
don't
Okay. All right.
remember.
All right.
On your visit, you and I were teammates the whole time. And want to know how I remember?
Who
These
was
young
it?
legs caught a lob
Tyrus
from
was there.
you. So don't do that.
Right wing.
It's right wing,
Right
exactly.
wing.
No one will believe it, but I actually caught a lot from Austin on
Right
his
wing,
visit. High
right
key.
wing. Old
But
gym.
no, like I'm just saying in the standpoint of like getting used to playing with one guy, and then now you, Austin, is stepping up to be that lead dog. Like I said, like we worked out a ton together that summer, and I was just like, the kid is more than ready. How did you feel when you were really finally like called up, like, okay, I'm the starter. This is my spot. This is my team to lead. How did that make you feel?
I think I felt good.
Mhm.
And all the work that you put in, usually if you put in that work, then you're gonna feel ready. So
Mhm.
it wasn't the aspect of like not feeling ready for it. It was more of not wanting to mess up, right? Like, and if you have that fear, I think you'll never really tap into how good you could be. And it took a while to get a hold of that, and then just kind of just started seeing the game go.
Right. We talked about Sharif a little bit earlier. I think he's going to be one of the guys who's literally in the same position that you were, a couple of years backing up, and then he's going to be asked once Marcus Zagorowski decides whatever he wants to do he's going to be asked to step up and really be the lead dog and really run the offense and run the show. What kind of advice would you have for a guy in that position, which is exactly the same position you were in?
He has to stay the course. Um, Granted, it's not the same position. I don't think anybody has the same position once,
Mhm.
but he has to stay the course. He knows where he wants to go, right? So at the end of the day, just stay the course. Just keep working. It sounds, rudimentary and this, that, the other. You hear it all the time, but as cliche as it is, it's like stay the course. You see it in the NBA all the time. That 12th man comes in, he just had 17, 20 points, and it's like, but he was ready. So like
Right.
when your name's called, you have to be ready, and that's just tricks of the trade.
Right. That sophomore year for you, another successful season for the team. Make it to the tournament again. We beat Cincinnati in the first round, but we lose to Duke and Philadelphia in the second round. So now that's back-to-back years of, successful teams for you. Fresh out the gate, like I said, you were a sophomore. You go to two straight NCAA tournaments, but we still can't get past the first round. How frustrating was it for you after that Duke loss, that we couldn't make it past that first weekend once again? Because I know for me, the most frustrating thing ever, like that was my junior year, and I just really wanted to make it past that first weekend.
It was tough. It was tough. It probably wasn't as tough for you or for me as it was for you. Sorry, but it was pretty tough. And just kind of understanding. Okay, we got one more year at this. Like these guys are here one more year. Um, Now we got to lock in, I think, and that's kind of really switched after that loss. And where it was like, okay, all right, this is kind of we can maybe do something. I think we can maybe do something.
So we
Scary.
literally find out in Philadelphia that we're moving to the Big East. It was kind of like being rumored here and there after we won the Valley tournament that year. We have that week of training camp right before the NCAA tournament. We fly to Philly. We beat Cincinnati, and that's when like everything was coming to fruition. People were really like, Creighton is going to be a Big East team. We were still told to kind of keep it on the hush hush until they made the official announcement about it. But when you first heard that news, you committed to a school that was in the Valley, and now all of a sudden we're making that transition to Big East. When you first heard that news, uh, how did that make you feel? How did that change maybe the way that you prepared the upcoming year? Like, how was that mentally for you?
I don't think it really changed the way I prepared because it was like all along. You wanted to go to these cream of the crop schools, right? And the Big East is what you know from history is that's the mecca, man. That's the mecca there. So
Right.
it wasn't really so much of okay, now gotta scramble and try to get ready. It goes back to my point where I was talking about earlier. It's like, nah, you just stay ready. But from there, it was more okay. How can I improve outside of this game and mentally, and make my teammates better and other things like that.
Yeah. So going into your junior year, like, bro, you you literally hit the ground running with our team because my freshman year was the struggle year where, we were winning one, winning two, losing two. You literally hit the ground running with the three straight tournaments. You actually, like I mentioned earlier in our intro, you were part of the Big East tournament all team in 2014. Uh, we make it to the tournament. We beat Louisiana Lafayette, and then we lose to Baylor. And that was the last game of my collegiate career. I remember it to this day. I remember that feeling. Anytime I see Baylor play, even now, I just kind of shake my head. I'll change the channel and all that stuff. Understanding now that, my senior group of guys was leaving and that you were going to be literally the show the upcoming year. What were your feelings after that loss to Baylor? How hard did that hit home for you?
That was the worst loss I've ever had in my life. Still, to this day.
To this day,
Like,
to this day.
to this day, cut deep. It still cuts deep. And what's so funny? So, PT in Dallas, shout out Keisha. Um, I work out with Corey Jefferson and Quincy Acey, right? But
Right.
I still can't. I can't bring this up. I cannot bring. I still can't. To me, I can't bring this up, bro, because like
Right.
I will literally go and yeah, it's tough, man. That's I was it hit a dark place, man. Honestly, and it was tough, and it took some real growing up after that point to like lead that team.
Yeah. I tell you what, Quincy, is he working out with those guys? It took me legitimately 2.5 years to talk to Brady Heslip. And you know how it is with Canadians. We all know each other, especially like if you play college ball. Bro,
Tough,
I didn't speak to him for a solid 2.5 years
tough.
after we lost. And then like when I did, it was on some like, hey man, what up? Like that's what it was. It
Yeah,
was nothing
nah,
friendly, nothing too
yeah,
sweet. It was just like, yo,
yeah.
what up? You
That one,
good?
like, yeah. Usually it's like, no, it's in between these four lines. That one, nah, bro.
Yeah,
That hurts. That one hurts. That hurts bad.
that was
But
tough.
it
Alex
wasn't
Olson
meant to
was
be.
my
So
yeah, Alex Olson was my road roommate, and I remember the feeling before going to that game and after that game. Him and I were at the hotel like, let's go, like let's get it. We're about to be in LA next week. Like I think that's where our next tournament seating was gonna be at in LA. Like man, we about to be in California. We just got to get through this one game.
oh yeah,
After that game, me and him talking at the hotel in the hotel lobby, we were defeated. We
yeah.
were
No, it was
absolutely
tough, man.
defeated, man. It was
It
really,
was
really
tough.
tough. So finally, your senior year comes along. Like I said, you're thrusted into like the ultimate leadership position. You are the main guy. The show kind of runs on you. You guys actually enjoyed a lot of early success that year. I was in Romania playing that year, and I remember that's when I learned that I had to stay up like at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to watch you guys play. You guys were even ranked after you beat Oklahoma at home. I think it was the Buddy Hield team, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
And then things took a turn for the worse. You guys lost a lot of really, really, really close games, a lot of 2 point games, 3 point games. Talk about that tough stretch. Obviously, being a guy that has experienced so much success in a Blue Jay uniform, and this is the toughest stretch of your career where you guys can't seem to buy a win. You still have to show up every day, enthusiastic, and be a leader for those guys. Talk about that stretch and your feelings going through it.
So I think during that time, I think a lot of people had to do a lot of soul searching, a lot of gut checking, because there was just a lot of turmoil, just going through a lot of people, right? And it showed. So it just took a lot to grow up character and just grow up really and build character. Um, and at the end of the day, like we had to realize that this was bigger than basketball. Whether win, lose, draw. And I think a lot of those guys though are my brothers. Like went to war with a lot of these dudes. So like a lot of those things that we went through are what we went through.
Right. And it's so difficult, like I said, like for you to have such great success and then having to lead this team who are experiencing turmoil. A lot of things went against you guys that year, man. It's just
Hmm.
I remember just being a fan. This is my first year being a fan of the Jays, watching you guys play, and I was rooting so hard to the point where like at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, I would get knocked on my door because I was yelling at the TV and stuff, yelling at the referees. But no, it was a really tough stretch. You guys ended up being 14 and 19 that year. Obviously, not the way that you wanted to go out as a Blue Jay, but kind of sum up, if you can, in a few words, what that whole career meant for you, your 4 years in a Blue Jay uniform in Omaha. Uh, just try to sum up, if you can, like what all that meant for you. Oh, we got a little bit of technical difficulties. Let's see if we can get Austin back on here.
We good? We good over there?
Yeah, I got you back.
You know that European, you got that European connection
Hey,
going,
look,
man.
listen, that ain't me,
Anytime they
man.
turn it off, they shut it off. You know how they shut it
That
off.
ain't me, man.
Yeah, it's midnight. Shut it off.
Did you hear that last question, or
Every
do I
day.
need to repeat it for you?
You gotta repeat that, sir.
Yeah, I said you ended up finishing that year 14 and 19. Obviously not the way that you wanted to go out. But kind of sum up your 4 years, if you can, like briefly, your time in Omaha in a Creighton Blue Jays uniform. What did those times mean for you?
They're great, man. Changed my life. Um, it's a lot of things that cherish for a lifetime, honestly. Life will be extremely different because of it. So I'm not, don't think, wish I would have made a different decision or anything like that. I'm proud to be a Blue Jay.
Right. So this is going to bring up our first fan question of the day. It actually comes from Alex Olson, believe it or not. He was one of the first guys to hit my DMs
Hey,
when I put it out there that you were going to be on this show. Hey, yo, what
yeah,
up, Alex?
what's up,
His
baby?
question is, and it's kind of Alex's personality is very satire question. How
Same
does it feel
birthday
to
too.
be
We got
a
the same birthday.
Lululemon? Right. His question is, how does it feel to be a Lululemon influencer?
The new day and age, man. It's about the same as like being a hipster. Either way, you somehow are getting by.
Right. As long as you're getting that $40, that's all that matters, man. The next question actually comes from Coach Halling as well. He has a similar question, and this one is mostly about your Nike golf attire. And he's asking, when does your sponsorship money run out for that Nike golf?
When he
Hey,
stopped
man,
giving me gift
dude,
cards. Tell him when he stopped giving me gift cards.
dudes are recognizing your swag out here on social media.
That's what
It's
I'm
not the
saying. So
worst
it's like
thing.
it's really like I father a lot of cats, and they're really upset.
Right.
Next question. Next question.
Yo, that might have been the quote of the podcast so far. It's really like I father a lot of cats.
Man. Man.
Right,
Unbelievable.
right. So you've been playing pro for the last 5 years now. Uh, while you were
Six.
overseas, you played in four different countries. Has it been six? It
It's
has been
been
six,
six.
hasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but
While you've been overseas, you played in four different countries. You played in Montenegro, you played in Switzerland, you've played in Romania, and you've also played where I'm playing now in Lithuania. You and I actually share the fact that we played in Romania and Lithuania. Out of those four countries, which one was your favorite country to play in, and which one was your least favorite country to play
I don't know if I could do that,
in? You
but
can,
I
and
will
that's why
say
I'm
my
asking
favorite
you.
place of everything was Switzerland.
Mhm.
But my favorite place to play, I don't know. I didn't get to play in Lithuania long enough due to injury, which competitive wise was pretty competitive. Um, my favorite place to play though, Armenia was fun. It was pretty competitive there too. They were all different though. That's my thing. Like they all had their own little aspects, so I can't really like say a favorite place to play, worst place to play. They were all different, and I was at a different place too, in my game. So for me, it was more growing and learning as well. So it wasn't like I was always trying to look at oh the negative side of it. But Switzerland was total package. Can't beat it.
Right. I always thought like none of these countries are the same as far as the league and how they play. They all have their own individual styles. Some leagues are a lot more physical than others. Like uh, when I played in Romania, I was always thinking like, man, this is not that bad. I could easily do this. And then I look back on it, I was just like, man, that league was actually like really tough. Like that was a really big learning experience for me. especially like the European game and the learning curve that it takes to be successful here. And I always think to myself, like, man, if I knew then what I knew that what I know now, like my rookie year when you think you know everything, but you literally know nothing. Now I'm kind of 7 years in the game. I'm just like, man, I wish I could kind of go back into that rookie year and really expose the things that I've learned over the time. You also had a chance to play in the G League for the Texas Legends at first. You tried out for them, and you also tried out for the Skyforce, right? Sioux Falls. Am I mistaken?
Yeah, Sioux Beach.
So what was your experience like, experiencing a little bit of pro ball while being still in the United States?
That's different, man. Of course, you're near your family, you're near your relatives, your friends.
Mhm.
So it's a little bit different. Schedule's a lot different, which is what you like, playing a lot, getting a lot of shots, getting up and down a lot.
Mhm.
Game's a lot different, right? And it takes getting used to, and just getting used to understanding the ins and outs of that as well.
Right. And the last couple of years, unfortunately, you've suffered a few injuries that has kind of slowed down your playing career thus far. Talk about kind of like the mental aspect that goes into recovering from surgeries, from injuries, I should say. I think you had a couple of surgeries as well. So kind of speak on, what happened to you, how the recovery process has been, especially in the time that we're living in with COVID going around.
Yeah, I'm a vet in that department. Honestly, that hadn't just started. That started, way back when. So yeah, a lot of what I'm dealing with now should have been taken care of. So I kind of had, mentally a way to prepare for that. And a lot of what you're gonna do really isn't everything you're gonna go to PT for, go to your strength conditioning for. Is a lot of it's gonna be on your own, and if you really want it or not at the end of the day. So that's really what makes or breaks it.
Let's go back into your Creighton playing career. You and I share a lot of similar experiences. One thing that I didn't get to experience is actually practicing in the championship center. I get to work out there in the summertime when I go back, but you were part of that team that transitioned from old gym to the championship center. I think your team was actually the first team to practice there. Talk about like the improvement of the facility and how it actually helps players develop their game and be better all around players.
I think immediately, like right when I stepped inside, my knees and back went, like if this was a 2K percentage, went up like 15%. But like it was just as far as like technology and like new age, cutting edge things, like it had everything that you needed to be to try to be elite, and try to win that national championship. Honestly, and like that has everything that you need to, like if that's what you want to do, it has everything that you need. You
Exactly.
want, yeah, it's there.
I'm still so impressed with like all the amenities that they have. Like honestly, every time that I step out, I'm like, man, you guys get to do that too. Like the whirlpool, the underwater treadmill, stuff like that. Like not that I would ever really use that stuff when I was playing. I was kind of stubborn on the body regeneration side of the game, but like man, it's incredible the stuff that they have access
You were
to now.
Iron Man, though. You were Iron Man.
Well, I could not for the life of me get into that cold tub, bro. Like I really couldn't. Do you remember how long it took
Yeah,
for
I
me to get a
know.
toe in even?
I know. I know. I just knew how great I was gonna feel afterwards. It's the benefits.
Yeah. No, I couldn't do it. I used to look at you just step in like a warrior. I couldn't do that at all. Not even close. Talk about your relationship with Coach Mack. I mentioned, him giving you the keys to the offense as a sophomore. Talk about how that relationship has grown from year to year, obviously helping you as a player. Now that you're a pro, you're still around the program. You still go back. I still run into you in the championship center working out in the summertime. Uh, what has Coach Mack meant to you as far as, not only a mentor and stuff like that, but also as a basketball coach?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. This real season relationship. This is what it's 2011. It's 10 years, man.
A
Sheesh.
decade.
It's
Yeah,
10
a
years, man. This is
decade.
my 10 year. This is my 10 year high
Yeah.
school reunion. So, but this relationship, he's been huge. He's been instrumental. Um, and hopefully he can continue to be instrumental. But he's a big piece, and the man I am as well today. So, I give a lot of credit to him as well.
Talk about maybe, do you have a specific memory of playing in a Blue Jay uniform, something that you'll never forget? When I asked Ethan, he mentioned like the win against Wichita State in the tournament, the last MVC tournament in Korean history. Guys, for whatever reason, they have these different perspectives. I'd like to kind of figure out what yours is on in your favorite memory in your Blue Jay career.
Okay. I just have to see.
hmm I'm putting you on the spot, I know, so take
Last
your time with
regular.
it.
No, 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 no. I'm off the cuff. Last. I think it's a 2012, 2013 season. Last regular season game against Wichita State. Right? Was that home? Was that the last regular
Yep,
season game? That's
yep.
probably my favorite game, honestly. It was the
To
loudest
to
I've
clinch
heard
the regular
entry
season
rank.
championship.
Oh my gosh,
Yep,
that was a really fun game. That was a really
yep,
fun game. Um, yeah, 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 for
yeah.
sure. Yeah, just go watch that game. Fred Van
No, I
Fleet, I
know.
need your money.
Doug went for like 40 or whatever. It was one of your better games as well. I'm pretty sure I only scored like 2 points that game, but nonetheless, like doesn't matter. We got the dub. We got the regular season championship. A week later, we go and we beat them in the MVC tournament
Yeah,
championship game. And
yeah.
like I mentioned this with Doug, I mentioned this with Ethan. That's the team that ends up going to the Final Four, not us. Not us who beat them twice in 2 weeks. The Wichita State team that we beat twice in 2 weeks ends up going to the Final Four on a legendary run in the
They got good
NCAA tournament.
chemistry going on, man. I'll give big credit to them, man. They had a lot of pieces too.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
did. Ron
they're
Baker was big. Van Fleet was big. Clay Anthony was big. They had a lot of pieces, honestly. And they just got clicking at the right time, and that's what March is. You get moving at the right time. Everybody's on the right rhythm. You know, that's it,
still
man.
I'm still allowed to be salty about it though, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's 2021, man. We gotta move past
Nope,
it.
not me.
we got
In
to.
the
We
back
got
of
to.
in the back of my mind, man, I still despise that team forever, honestly. I honestly
Yeah.
do. I always will. If I run into any former players, look, Van Vliet, you're a Toronto Raptor and you got a championship for the country. I appreciate you, but bro, I promise you, I'm still mad at you for making the Final Four when we couldn't.
Hey, man. We're in our
Uh,
cards, man.
this about sums it up, Austin. Is there anything else that you want to see the Blue Jay Nation before we wrap up episode 3 of the pod, bro?
Episode 3, man. I appreciate you for having me. I appreciate you fans. Roll Jays.
Roll Jays forever. This was
Absolutely.
brought to you by the Field of 68 Network. My name is Jahenns Manigat. I'm your host. This was our third guest, Austin Chatman. Make sure to like and subscribe to the Field of 68 Network for more content like this. And like I said previously, to all the other various hosts representing the alma maters. This was fun, man. Austin, thank you so much, dude. I miss you. We have to catch up this summer. We definitely have to golf for sure if we have a chance.
Got to, man.
Um,
Got to see what you
I'm,
like out there on the greens.
Hey, I'm much better than I was like July 4th all those years ago, trust me.
I hope so, because me too. Me too.
hundred
Me
percent,
too.
bro.
Thousand percent.
We'll get the whole Nike sponsorship, golf
Yeah, tell Coach
outfits
Holland. Tell
on
Coach
there.
Holland. He's the one that's got the sponsorship. Actually, you're a coach. You have it.
Hey, Coach Holland, we coming for you, bro. All right, Austin,
Stop it.
appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, man.
Thanks for tuning in to another Welcome to the J podcast. Take care. Go Jays.
Yes, sir. Be safe.